Hello, friends. Father Matthew here with your weekly update from the Episcopal Mission of Warren County, Trinity, and St. Francis Churches here in Warren County, Pennsylvania. Glad to have you with us. And just a couple quick notes for us. We get ready for the weekend and for worship on Sunday. This Sunday is the last day for our Cancer Center care items that we're collecting. Be watching your email tomorrow for one more chance to see the list. Reminder, those specific items, what we're looking for, these have been carefully researched over the years as the folks over at the Cancer Center have learned what's best to help their patients with. We're going to help stock them so they can put together some of those care packages to help people as they recover from treatments. So please bring those in this Sunday. If you're not able to be here on Sunday, give me a call. Give us a call at the office or PM me here on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll arrange a chance to get in your items. And we're glad to really help out here in our local community. Featuring our Ask a Priest segment, thank you so much for your questions. And a reminder, you can always send those questions in by email to trinity@trinitywarren.org, or you can text me on my phone, PM me here on Facebook. Glad to have your questions. This week's question comes from D in Warren, Pennsylvania, and it asks, are there different types of psalms? Remember, the Psalms are a series of poems that are captured in the Hebrew Scriptures, what we call the Old Testament in our usage. Originally written in Hebrew over many years and gradually assembled over probably decades, if not centuries of time. The 150 Psalms that we have in the book represent all sorts of different things. Reader critics of this, not critics, I want to say, but students of the Psalms like to think of them in four general categories. And the first are the lament Psalms. Think of Psalm 74 or Psalm 23. Lamenting is when we bring our pain and our grief to God and seek help. So you almost think of them as intercessory psalms as well. But so lamentation psalms are one type. Another one are the praise hymns, Psalm 93, Psalm 103, and some others. The praise hymns, just making sure we direct our joy back to God and echoing His greatness. Um, then there are several psalms for a third category called wisdom psalms. Think of Psalm 119. That if you know anybody think about the Hebrew underneath, each 8 verses is actually begins with the next letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and that's a way of signifying conclusion or completeness. Completeness, and that's one of the pieces of wisdom that if you follow the Psalms, follow the commands of God, you will know a complete life. And then finally, the last type that most folks who study and try to delineate different types in the Psalms are the songs of worship, the liturgy Psalms. These are Psalms that obviously were used at different times of the larger liturgies in the ancient times in Jerusalem and in other areas. You think of Psalms of processions like Psalm 15 or Psalm 118. And it's obvious that these were used as people were moving in a liturgy, much like we might use a hymn today in our liturgy when the altar party comes in toward the altar. So that's it. So we're looking again, lamentation psalms, praise psalms, wisdom psalms, and then liturgical psalms, or what we might call procession psalms. And neat thing about the Psalms, these are in translations to us. We read them in English, originally written in Hebrew, translated into Greek and Latin over the history, and now into so many of the vernacular, the local languages of people around the world. And we also have multiple types of translations. And the Psalms are some of the most uh, use the most imagery and the most idioms, phrases that really don't have easy ways to translate. And it takes a lot of interpretation to sort of figure out what image really is conveying what the author might be trying to say, and how do we make that be heard in current language. So while we have our traditional translations that we use, like the ones from our BCP that we use in worship, the Book of Common Prayer for the Episcopal Church, you also have the translations you'll see in whatever Bible you're reading, the New Revised Standard Version, maybe an older version like the King James or the New King James or the New International Version. You're also invited, if you become a student of Hebrew, to consider translating them yourself. Try to tackle some of these more difficult idioms and what are they really trying to get at and how can I express that in modern language. And one really unique source I've picked up over my career is from Norman Fisher. Opening to you. As a more of a wandering spiritual person with some Jewish background, but also spent a lot of time studying Zen meditation, something I studied before I entered the Christian church. And I still find the resource to be very deep and powerful. Well, he took a crack at translating the Psalms, and he offered a Zen-inspired psalm. And I'll offer one of my favorites, Psalm 150, which, by the way, would be a praise hymn psalm. And we'll close with that today. Praise to you in your holiness. Praise throughout your expansive realm. Praise for the power of your doing, for your abundance and everywhereness. All praise. Praise with blowing trumpets. Praise with the psaltery and harp. Praise with timbrel and dance, with stringed instruments and pipe. Praise with clear sounding cymbals and with crashing cymbals. Every breath is your praise. Psalm 150, as translated by Norman Fisher in his book, Opening to You. God bless you all. Send in your questions for next week, and I can share a little bit more with you. Questions about church history, of course, Bible, theology questions, if you want to. Questions about what's going on in the world and what the church thinks. That can be an interesting topic. I'll try to keep it short. But anything you'd like to hear about that I could give you some of the wisdom and history of the church, I'd love to share. And of course, your prayers are also wonderfully appreciated for us in our ministry, and any kind of prayer submissions that we can keep you in prayer and what you're praying for. Send those in too. A lot of work going on here behind the scenes. I know COVID is keeping us kind of boxed in right now, but we are looking forward to more things happening, and we'll keep you in touch. So thanks so much. See you next week. God bless.